We can see. Oh, Julien, thank you very much for joining us. And congratulations on so far. You've brought your 5 cars. 9 of the 10 centuries are still in it. I think that's a magnificent achievement. Well done.
Thank you. We are 8 cars out of 10. We unfortunately had 2 retirements, but not really due to directly car problems. The cars are still running, but one guy injured his back and the other one lost his cool, let's call it that way, and decided to stop racing. So, but yeah, the other 8 are still going strong.
And you've run out of bits of bodywork. I think you've had 5 cars roll already. The wings, you've run out of rear wings. It's been a very eventful and a busy race for you. You've got to be so glad you've got the level of service trucks that you've got.
Yeah, in total it's been 6 rolls now. We have had another one today, so yeah, it keeps rolling. But yeah, we still keep going. All the main parts, we still got quite a few in hand, so it not as bad as last year. We were running. We're sailing very close to the wind. All the critical bits we still have. We still have gearboxes. We still have all the suspension absorbers and so on. We've used our spare engine with Skulk, but so far the engines have been good. Other issues to report. In fact, now we're busy supplying parts to Mathieu. His car is going to leave straight from here and go to Abu Dhabi for the second round of the World Championship. So we're busy helping him with parts as we speak. Yeah, no, it's been pretty good. We've been much better prepared than last year, although we got double the amount of cars. It's been quite a good job from the team. I'm actually quite amazed every time we look for a part, it's there in the truck. We've had the Spaniards have had the biggest roll so far, and the steering column was bent inside the cockpit, and I thought, oh. And then, lo and behold, we had one in the truck here. So it's quite impressive.
Look, you had a large input into what goes into that truck, and each year you learn more and more about how the performances of the cars, and therefore the level of spares that carry with it. The reception of the centuries and the performance and reliability of the cars in the paddock, I'm sure that you've opened a few eyes again during this Dakar.
Yes, for sure. We fixed all our little niggles from last year. We had a few quality problems on parts that cost us dearly, probably a stage win last year. To give you an idea, Mathieu and Loic, his navigator and the SRT team, they haven't climbed out of the car once since the start in Jeddah. Meaning, not even a puncture, not a mechanical issues. They had never opened the door to get out of the car in the stage so far. And I'm pretty sure they're probably about the only competitor in the field to have done that.
I think that's absolutely, it's almost unbelievable, particularly when you see where they're lying in the overall position. I mean, 8th overall is phenomenal.
Yeah, we were very disappointed because for 2 reasons. We expected to be quicker in relative pace compared to the other cars. We had done our numbers, but things turned out very differently. A bit of a disappointment, to be honest. From the second stage, we realized what we were up against. And then there was a big mishap with the navigation on stage 1 where Mathieu, Brian, all our top guys, before the race even started, they had already been dropped an hour, 40 minutes, 2 hours. If you add the 15 minutes penalty for missing the waypoint. We tried very hard to ask the organizers to do the right thing and cancel that part of the stage because we do believe there was a major issue there. You can't have all the top bikers and all the top navigators in the world getting lost, and we do believe that was a little bit off the mark from them, not to do the right thing. But this is unfortunately the FIA being involved now. Things are so rigid. There's no more common sense. Very sad. So we had to switch focus on other things, show the reliability of the car and try to climb back up the ranking. It's losing feet from Mathieu to be 8th overall now. I never expected that. We were 32nd or something at a stage at the beginning of the race.
Yeah.
He's had two minor issues with the car, but doesn't even require them to get out of the car. We had an overheating problem. We still don't understand what happened, but the radiator is blocked, and we've never seen it before on both their cars. So it seems like one of the products they used reacted or something, and it blocked half of the radiator or a part of a radiator for cooling. So he had one stage where he couldn't push. He lost a bit of time, but beside that, yeah, it's been pretty exceptional. But his team is also doing a phenomenal job. It's not just the car or just the driver, it's everything combined. The navigator has been fantastic. He helps Mathieu pick the lines in the dunes. He also look at where to go on the terrain because he's a biker. It's a cool, calm, collected. There's a nice physio looking after Mathieu that, is like almost like a life coach. He talks to him and tells him when to rest, when to eat, when to do what, just to help him a little bit on the mental side, and it's all paying off in a very nice way.
And your team of technicians, the guys working on the car, there's a lovely spirit and spirit and a family joy of being at Dakar. And
camaraderie is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely, the camaraderie. Thank you, Julien. Your English is a lot better than my French.
Yeah. It's a funny Dakar in that sense. We decided to take clients with us to Dakar. It was not an easy thing to do because the three customer cars, they always, like our Brazilian, he brought new people. We do talk, we do sort of agree before and we know the people, and having Ernest and Skalk as well bringing their own crowd, we sort of have to, almost like an interview for a job, you almost have to meet the guys beforehand and decide if they're good enough for the job, but you don't really know them. And they came to the workshop, they did a bit of training on the car, they helped prepare the place. But you never know how it's going to turn out until you've done a Dakar with them. Dakar is a funny thing. It brings sorry guys. Sorry. So there always that risk that, it doesn't turn out to be as smooth and easy as we've had it. And that some people start losing their cool and so on. But we've been quite surprised, and it's worked very, very well. It took a few days to get into a rhythm. We had a very difficult start with one engine broken, two guys rolling their cars and so on. We were back foot, and it took a little bit of time for everybody to find its rhythm, find its place in the team. But you can see now I'm busy talking to you guys, and things are happening there. I don't have to be behind everything, and it's actually quite pleasant, to be honest.
Dakar really is a pressure cooker, both on the people side and on the car side. And I think as you add a little bit of exhaustion and that tiredness, it really tests people and cars to the limit.
Correct, yeah. You have to pace yourself. We expected an easy first week and a difficult second week. It's been the other way around for us, the crew here, A very unusual Dakar in that sense. We knew today was going to be hard, but we everybody was sort of prepared, and things went pretty smooth, SRT had a rolled car, they managed to put it back on its wheels, and he came back. But from our side, hats off. The guys, they make mistakes, they get stuck. But, even Chris, it's his first real Dakar, and the conditions, every day the dunes are different. It's you get caught out on, he says, I made stupid mistakes, but there's no such thing. There's no bad luck or good luck. You're either prepared and you've got the experience, or you don't. It's simple. So hats off to Scott, hats off to Ernest, hats off to Chris. They've done a very, very good job. And people don't understand, watching Dakar on TV, sitting on your couch is very different to being here and doing the real thing.
Yeah. What's the hardest thing there?
It's a long days, I guess, for them in the cars. I'm not myself in the car, but we have our own, tough life here, stuck in campers all day, setting up camp, packing all the stuff every night at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, or not sleeping. At the beginning it was 3 nights. The guys didn't sleep, literally, till 6 in the morning. It was the big roll for Ernest. It was a broken engine for Skalk the next day, and then it was Brian that rolled, and issues a bit everywhere, and it's you have to try it. You mustn't forget the week before even.
It's that passport control in the sky.
A humongous task here, putting 5 cars back together where the gearbox and the suspension is not on and the bodywork. Getting through scrutineering, the technical checks was a monumental task in itself. A lot of stress for everybody because they always catch you out with one or two items that you haven't heard of before. You have to quickly make a plan and go and fetch some stuff and borrow from people. But we were the last cars to go through technical check on the 31st of December at like 8 o'clock at night. While you guys were having a braai and a beer, we were still working there,
But that's why you have all the glory of Dakar.
Yeah, true. It's an amazing experience, but make no mistake, it's a super hard race on the body and the mind.
Yeah.
That's been my 7th Dakar now, so you grow a little bit wiser and you know how to pace yourself, and you try to share your experience with the guys who never been here before, But Ernest and Scar's crew, I think they had it tough at the beginning. They won't admit it, but now they found their feet, and the second week was a lot better for everybody. I can see smiles everywhere, and they actually enjoy it, But it's been good. All our teams, our Spanish team were new as well. All new things for first time in Dakar, everybody. It went very smoothly until Oscar rolled the car, what was it, 3 days ago? They did an all-nighter. My guys went there to help with the fix the bodywork. The car was seriously battered. It looked like a wreck. So a testament to the car. They couldn't believe. The seat brackets were bent. The steering column was bent. I've never seen this before.
And they
were still driving on a straight line.
And the brackets on above the engine were all bent, and then they fix it all and spray paint it all nice and neat and make it look pretty again.
No, incredible. These guys are not scared to fix. These are seasoned mechanics. You can see they come from track racing and probably rallying. But Dakar is new for them, so they got caught out at the beginning with stupid things on the car that retired. And unfortunately, we are spread thin, and I went to Madrid beforehand. I spent time there. We explained everything, but it's unfortunately, there's what you call school fees. The guys have to learn, the hard way and learn the ropes. But Oscar is still in the race. If he reaches the finish line tomorrow, it will be a major feat for him with a brand new team, and his sponsors are super happy. So all good. We're looking forward to more from them. Their sponsors got big long-term plans there. So we already talk about cars, new generation of cars for them. It's looking very, very good for us.
Talking about looking not so good was the 1mm air restrictor reduction that you got this year. Have you managed? We know that there was a discussion with FIA on various bits of performance. What's the feeling from FIA about getting some parity of performance back again? Or should we not
very
talk
complex
about this?
subject. No, I can talk about it. People mustn't take it out of context and draw their own conclusion. I don't want to incriminate anybody or say things that that can turn against us. But there's definitely a problem. The data they presented us is quite clear. Already last year we had a disparity on power. We should have had but we're sort of happy to be the underdog, and we could, we had a car in the top 5 every day last week at various times. It was Brian Mathieu, it was Seidan. And we expected very much the same this year, but it was a big shock to us that we were being dropped 3 seconds a kilometer in the soft sand. It was. Then we quickly realized something is not right here. The 400 horsepower they announced for the T1 Plus is definitely not 400 horsepower. The mats just don't add up. The cars are heavy. They got big tires. They got big aerodynamic drag, and there's definitely something not happening there. Not happening like it should. So the discussion is ongoing today. Right opposite me in the seat here was one of the FIA guys. So we're trying to look at possibilities. The problem with the FIA, it's super rigid. They got so many procedures. It's like trying to make this union, take a decision on a small little nuclear reactor. It takes a serious amount of bureaucracy. So the first answer they gave us is they can't do anything until 1st of January 2023, but there's a whole year of racing to still go through, So I'm like, guys, we need to find a solution. Luckily for us, we have the organizers, the ISO, the Dakar organizers are on our side, and they're going to force their hands for sure. It's already started, and from our side, unfortunately, we're not recognized as a manufacturer. It's a very strange situation. They're pushing us to pay €50,000 to enter the World Championship, which we decided to boycott until things are more in our favor, let's call it that way, or more balanced. So yeah, they twist our arm to enter the World Championship because they need the teams on the board, to look good, but they don't want to do the right thing in terms of recognizing us as such. We have no voting right. We have no say in the meetings. It's very frustrating, to say the least. We believe as customers we are entitled to play in a fair playing field, even playing field. And right now they're sort of hinting that, they can't allow Audi to get embarrassed by small teams, The guys said it out loud in a meeting. I wish I could have recorded the conversation, but yeah, I pushed for those kind of answers. I told them, let us know what your vision is because it's important for us. We need to know where we stand here. We come all the way from South Africa. We fly 5 cars here and spare parts, 17 tons through air freight. We don't want to come here and look bad, because now everybody will look at it and say, oh, but shit, hang on a second, the two-wheel drive cars, why should we buy them? We should go and buy T1 Plus cars now, because they're much faster. So it does do us a lot of harm, in terms of on the commercial side of things. And it was an interesting meeting. I did most of the talking and they listened. And I think they get our point, that you can't arrive at Wimbledon, and all of a sudden some people got bigger rackets than others,
Yeah, and it's going to be an ongoing negotiation, and the other teams, I would imagine, be lobbying against making a change. So as much as you are lobbying for a change, you have somebody lobbying against a change, and then, it's a tough life.
Correct. You spot on. Everybody's going to lobby and pull the rug in his corner. So it's almost a pointless discussion to go and talk to other big teams now. They're not here to help us. Luckily for us, we all team up. Correct. They're quite desperate to win from what we've seen in this race. I think there's decision at the top, and this is not how we want to go racing. We want a fair fight. We're not asking for a technical advantage. Quite the contrary. We were happy to be a little bit underpowered compared to everybody else last year, but for me personally, I like a fair fight or, punch a little bit above your weight even is more satisfying when you do win,
Yeah, Julien, I'd like to move from that fight because it's an ongoing thing. The tyre sizes, the car was originally designed, I'm told that it was originally 37 tyres front and back. In your developments, you put the 35s on the front, and you've been trying 35s on the back as well. What sort of changes does it make by running the smaller overall diameter and narrower tyre at the back in the stages?
Okay, so interesting discussion. I've always been an advocate of small tires because it makes the car more nimble, but over the years, Robbie Gordon arrived with 37-inch tires in Dakar, and everybody thought that was the answer, I seriously believe that, again, there's a price to pay. Yes, you got a bigger footprint. Maybe it's better in the dunes. Maybe it's better in the rocks. But you got a bigger sidewall, which I think for me causes more flex or cornering. Brian is probably the better guy to answer it, but he's still also discovering because he's played with both tires now and he believes there's all to run 35s. I pushed Mathieu to test them in Morocco. He reluctantly put it in the front of his car, but then he said, the car is shaking in the rocks. He's not keen on it. And then I told him, please, we are giving you a chassis free of charge, a 2021 chassis, but you need to run the car as per our specification. It's part of a deal.
Yeah.
But so I told him, please order your 35-inch tires, but he sort of ignored my request, And then we got here at the shakedown. I sort of forced his hand a little bit. Put the 35 on, please. Try the 35 in the front of the car. It's more nimble. So he sort of tried it. He was half convinced, and then as the race progressed, he said, "Oh wow, we got a power deficit. Let's try the 35 again." Then he loved the 35 in the front, and then. When we went to Namibia a few months ago, I asked Brian to please do me some comparative times. Run 37 all round, 35, 37, and 35 all round. Give me the lap times. I couldn't unfortunately be there myself. So the lap times were very close. 35 all round was marginally quicker. but there's still that preconceived idea that you need big tires in the sand and in the dunes. But what happened during the race is Marcelo were running 35 and 37. He had a 35 spare and a 37 spare. He had 2 rear punctures. He ended up with 335 and 137. And because of a rear diff, we had told him, do not run 2 different sizes on the back. You're going to cook the diff. So he ended up putting 235-inch on the rear, 137, 135, and he came back. He's like, guys, the car is alive. It's got so much more power, and it's so much better in the dunes. I'm running 35 tomorrow. So off he went with his 35. He came back, all smile. He says, much better, much quicker. It jumps over the dunes. It accelerates faster. So I think it was a day later that Mathieu decided, hey, I've got nothing to lose. Let me try it. And he put the 35 all around and he came back. He says, amazing. So the trend, they looked at the content of dunes and sand every day in the stage and decided which rear tires to use. So it's a quick change. You just drop or raise the rear spring a little bit. It's all you have to do.
Yeah.
We only had 30 of 35-inch tires, so we started running out. We had to borrow a couple from MD Rally. And now, I don't know, Mathieu he ran 35 again today, went pretty well, super happy with the car. And now Brian went back on 37. He says, look, there's potential. We need to maybe set up the car better for the 35-inch. Obviously, you've got a different flex on the sidewall and... we need to maybe relook at the tire pressures we run with the 35. In terms of punctures, I'm not convinced. I think a small tire in some instances will be as good, if not better. The width, you mentioned the same width, 12.5-inch, both tires. They're almost identical. Okay. The only thing that changes is the diameter. The construction is the same. The rubber is the same. And to understand it better, so much the static weight of a tire, which is only 2 kilogram difference. But that problem is that 2 kilograms sits on the periphery of the tire, on the outer piece of the tire or outer ring of the tire. And when you talk about inertia, you multiply it, it's to the power 4. So you're looking at only a 2 kilogram increase on the 40 kilogram. But when you do the calculation, you're looking at 17% increase in inertia, which is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Julien, the readers or viewers have some questions for you. Would you like to, or would you care to answer a question for us, please?
Yes, no problem. If you can just read it to me.
Go ahead.
Julien, we've got 3 questions for you. First one is, would you have any plans to go 4x4 or T1 Plus with one of your cars or design a new car around that platform? The second one is, what is your budget to get your 5 cars over there with 17 tons of spares? And the third one is, what are your power figures meant to be? You were having the debate about the restrictor. Can you sort of quantify that between sort of the T1 Pluses and you guys?
Okay, question number 1. No, we have no plan to build a T1 Plus. In a moment of anger, we did say, yeah, let's just build it better T1 Plus and beat everybody. Then they got no way of disadvantaging us. But no, it's not who we are. We've spent, we started building 2-wheel drive cars in 2007. This is who we are, 15 years of development of R&D. This is our specialty, It's like climbing back the mountain to climb another one. It's not worth it. We at the top of our game. There's no reason for us to fix the problem at the root of the problem, which is the power balance. And we are fighting hard on that front. We got good arguments. And I believe once we have our power back, then there's no reason why we can't give them a good fight. And I think it's good for the show to have different kind of cars. Although the FIA doesn't seem to agree, we're a bit of a hindrance for them. So I hope it answers your question, but no, not for now. If there's a new car, it will be a better version of the CR6, which at the moment, we don't see reasons to build a new car.
Okay.
The second question was, what sort of power do you need and what sort of budget do you need?
Okay, the budget question. You must understand that we have 2 Century cars, so far quoted here, and we have 3 customer cars. So the customers sort of pay their way, but we all chip in for the trucks and so on. So we presented them with a budget. Roughly, without the cost of the car itself, but in spares, entry fees, and flights, and all in all, you in between, I would say, between 4 and 4.5 million rand per entry per car. So maybe close to 5 million rand. We'll have to do the final numbers. As you get going, you get here. There's some extra fees, like the clearing fees have been exorbitant, and we've been fighting that as well. So yeah, 5 cars, 5 million rand. You're looking at between 20 and 25 million rand to run the show here, without the cost of the cars themselves.
And that is actually you run on a tight budget. We've seen some of the other, the ProDrive teams and the Audi teams, and they're probably 4 times the size that you are and running 3 cars.
No, they're not 4 times. Audi's got 175 staff here for 3 cars.
Wow.
So it's an average of what's that, 57 people per car. We have all together here, I think 32 people to run 5 cars.
But South Africans have always been able to do things, and do things in a clever way.
Yeah.
Julien,
so, yeah, the third question was the power difference. So, we were on a 37.2 millimeter restrictor last year, which is around 380 horsepower at ski level fuel. They dropped us in millimeter this year. We're sitting at 365 horsepower. The T1 Plus, the turbo engines, were meant to be 400 or just under 400 horsepower, 398 to be exact. But the thing is, the T1 Plus weighing 2 tons empty, we weigh just under 1.6 tons. There should have been almost no difference in acceleration in the soft sand, given their power. So the numbers don't add up. We've seen close to 3 seconds a kilometer difference between Mathieu and Brian and the T1 Plus. We believe there's something gone wrong somewhere. Calibration of the dyno or the way it's controlled with electronics, because they don't have restrictors on the turbos. It's done electronically. The more we go into the discussion with the people with turbo engines and the way they're doing things, the more we convince it's very porous. Some stuff don't line up. And anyway, I don't want to get back into that now. We need a bit of time now and then see what the FI is going to do about it. They are aware of the problem, and we're waiting for them to make a decision. So, yeah.
Tomorrow, last day, relatively short stage, 160 something odd kilos of racing. What do you tell you guys? You bolt the small tires on and tell them to have a full-on go to show the true speed of the car? Yes?
As a team manager, I never put pressure on the drivers. Even Brian, we discuss things. I never forced him to use this tire or that tire. I said, Brian, it's your feeling. You're the driver. You've done all the testing. You know how the car handles. I can't do that for you,